bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gonna be biblical.
Hello again, welcome to Patriots Across The Pond with Stu and Elisa. Today we've got an amazing guest, Mickey Coachella. We may have Matt join us at some stage, but he's quite busy doing other things. Now, many of you that are watching this already know Mickey. We've all watched his journey together with Rambo, coming in from the world of Normie Land into, oh my God, what is going on. Mickey, it's quite hard to find any sort of a bio on you online, but I've been down a rabbit hole, so I'll just read this little bit. Mickey Coachella is a Baltimore-born stand-up comedian and long-time radio personality, best known for his years on 98 Rock. Mickey brings the same sharp, no-filter energy from the airwaves to the stage, delivering raw, observational comedy that doesn't pull punches. Mickey's style is direct, irreverent, and built for audiences who prefer their comedy honest and unfiltered. Short in stature, big on laughs, comedian Mickey hits the stage with his raucous and raunchy special short stories. He's got a lot to rant about, and Mickey ain't afraid to spout his controversial views on race, sex, and terrorist line dancers, and also now everything Q and tinfoil hat absurdity. And I'd just like to say that it has been really important for, we have gone down so many rabbit holes as Anons over this year, some of us like 20 years plus, and we have to have a laugh in the meantime, which is all this joking, because when you're looking at child trafficking and these things, you've got to try and keep a level sense of what's on the other side of this when we come out of it. So I just pulled a little clip here of Mickey, because if you're going to take the piss out of others, you've also got to be able to have the ability to take the piss out of yourself. And I love this little clip.
I don't know what this is. This should be interesting.
Yeah. How's this look? This is awesome. It'll probably seem weird for the first 10 minutes, but you'll get used to it. I'm just kidding, man. How are you?
I got to tell you,
Brilliant.
I had my manager at the time was a guy named Barry Katz, who's actually a very famous, maybe the most famous comedian manager that's ever been. I mean, Dane Cook, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr. I could go down the list. 2 weeks before we're about to film, he calls me up and he said, I have an idea. We're going to change the name of the special. And I said, okay. And he goes, we're going to call it Short Stories. I said, man, I love that. I love that. It's kind of a double entendre. He goes, and we're going to build the set to be giant. And I was like, what? He goes, the mic stand's going to be 12 feet tall and your bar stool will be 6.5 or 7 feet tall or 8 feet, whatever it was. And I was like, that's hilarious. I never saw any of it till the day of the shoot. I walked on stage and I looked up and I was like, this is just the funniest thing in the world. And I love doing it. Yeah, I there's no one I make fun of more than myself. You can't, I don't believe you can talk about others if you're not willing to hold a mirror in front of yourself.
100%, 117%.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I'll take that other 17.
Yeah.
And this has been wild, Stu. It's so great to finally meet you and Elisa. I've watched the show a couple times. I saw when Rambo was on. I really dig, excuse me, what you do. I also think it's so important, especially over there. And I'm a huge fan, as you know, Stu. I'm a huge Premier League fan. I'm one of the rare Americans where soccer was my sport as a kid.
Keep talking. I've got something for you.
Okay. Oh, he's going to kill me right now. Oh, you son of a bitch. I knew you were going to do it, you prick. I should leave the show right now. And I swear I almost wore my United jersey. I came that close and I went, no, out of respect, I'm not going to do it. And I should have known better. But
Right.
I love so much about the British culture. I love British comedy. I think Eddie Izzard, Jimmy Carr, a lot of the Brits, not just England, but, Billy Connolly. I mean, these guys have massive influence on me, and I love them.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I bought this shirt in honor of you, right? Right? And honestly, and this is because I pretty much haven't watched any football for 6 years. Since they all started taking the knee.
Yeah,
right?
I get it.
In 2020, they did that. I was going to show you something. I can't find that. Oh, there it is. Hang on. I'll show you that in a minute. But I've heard you talk a lot, and you're always talking about the soccer and all that. And most of the other guys are going, "Oh, is he banging on about the soccer again?"
I know.
So I had a bit of a dig and all that, and I saw you a Manchester United supporter, or Wankchester United, as we call it here. So I thought, I've got to go and buy it. Anyway, I haven't got nothing on the back apart from that.
I love it. Now, see, I could wear that jersey if that was on the front. If that was on the front, I could wear it.
Yeah.
I do, man. I love the game. I love... I'll be honest with you. I watch a lot of the soccer podcasts. I'm a huge Roy Keane fan, obviously. Talk about a guy, and I know a lot of the Americans will have no idea who I'm talking about, but, an Irish player, played for United, and has never pulled a punch with his words. I can't believe he still has a job. He calls other guys crybabies. I mean, the guy, to me, and he stands behind it. And when he's wrong, he will apologize, which is very rare. But I dig that, and that's how I try to do the show.
He's got the driest approach with his comedy as well, isn't it? He doesn't even break a smile, does he?
No, he's a master. He is a master.
Yeah,
and of course, I mean, I love what I love all that, but I also see, that the problems you guys are having in your country. As much as I love it and respect the culture. Your culture and your history is trying to be rewritten and completely abolished by people that had nothing to do with building that country in the first place. Yeah. I find that to be the most insulting of all of it. When does that argument get to come into play? That, here England, whatever you want to call it, 1,000 years old, 1,200 years old, built by who it was built by, say whatever you want. Those are the people that built Western culture. And is it without its holes and without its problems? Of course not. But for the rest of the world to just show up and demand that we change it, that's not the way it works.
Well, it's an orchestrated thing to break down, all the cultures, and we see that more and more everywhere. That's what's going on, and that's what we're fighting against now. And I think this system is going to be sorely, they're going to regret, trying to do this, because I do not think it's going to succeed beyond the success it's had. And it's destroyed a lot. I mean, we were just talking off camera about let's say, the way in which the different cultures here in America, right? Because we came in waves as immigrants. And clearly we can hear stories about how certain groups that were here already felt, like angry, upset, whatever, prejudice even against the next wave that came in. But then that wave assimilated. And then by the next generation, generally speaking, kids didn't see color or difference in culture. They bonded in terms of, being on the street together, playing sports, having interests that are in common. And the goal with most of these people that all came over was to be American.
Yeah.
And to improve their way of life. However, they brought something that contributed, whether it was, they started businesses, they bought real estate, right? Look, tell me any immigrant who doesn't buy real estate, okay?
The immigrants in America, whether Americans want to admit it or not, immigrants are America. That's what America is. And I've been saying for years now, when did we lose focus? When people say, oh my God, the world hates America, I laugh. I go, what are you talking? We are the world. Every country on the planet has a citizen in the United States. Right. Every single one. I don't care what country you're from. Somebody from some village in some place in Africa or wherever it is, Asia, they're here. Somebody is from there. And they can come here and live any life they want. They're free to do what they want. You don't have to be told who you are. You don't have to be told who to sleep with. You're not told where you can go. You just live your life. And you get here and you realize after a certain period of time, this isn't about culture, really. Where we're at right now comes down to two things: ideology and religion. And that's where we are. That is where we are. You can, in my opinion, you can paint it any way you want. But everybody screaming from one side or the other believes this ideology in this woke movement, which is just nothing but lies and total brainwashing. Or you believe that the religious sides, I use that plural, sides, are going to fight it out. And either way, you just sit back and you go, you're all idiots. Every one of you are idiots. You don't even realize the gold you're sitting on, and you're trying to dig through that to find silver. I don't get it. Yeah. Like, you're sitting on the promised land and you're trying to dig down to find another city. Yeah, it makes no sense. You saw it in the World Cup. I'm sure Stu, even though he doesn't watch a lot of it, it comes across your algorithms. All these Europeans from every country are in America going, what the fuck? Why did they lie to us?
Yeah,
this is incredible.
There was TikTok videos going out and Instagram and stuff of people going, what you mean? I can buy a Coke and I'll get another one in there for free. And people were just loving it. But what a beautiful thing for the awakening movement to have all these people coming to America. Patriots in Control, was it planned like that? To all coming to America at this time so that they go, those lying bastards. All these years.
Right. It's so true.
Just when you were talking about that, I just dug up a clip from Joe Rogan. It's only about a minute and a half long, but let me just play it. Yeah. This is pretty good.
As soon as you give politicians power, any kind of power that didn't exist previously, if they can figure out a way to force you into carrying something that lets you enter businesses or lets you do this or lets businesses open, historically, they are not going to give that power up. They find new reasons to use it.
I'll be back.
We have to protect those freedoms at all costs, whether you agree with people's choices or not, because it is the foundation that this country was founded on, freedom. This idea of freedom, there's so many people that think it's frivolous, it's not important, it's not the main thing that we should be focused on, but it is the literal structure that allows this country to be so fucking amazing. Every single country that's ever existed other than the United States, up until 1776, every fucking country that has ever existed was run by dictators, all of them. This is the first experiment in self-government that actually worked, and it created the greatest superpower the world's ever known. It created the greatest cultural machine, the greatest machine of art and creativity and innovation right fucking here. And how did it do that? It did it through freedom. And as soon as you see something, anything that comes along and inhibits your freedom, you should be very cautious about that. You should be very suspicious. Because anything that comes along that can inhibit your freedom is, by definition, anti-American.
What an apropos video, Stu. Thanks for
yeah, that was great timing, Stu. I mean, it literally sums up exactly what I'm trying to say. You know, even furthermore, what's crazy to me about that, when you watch a video like that, you forget who's actually fighting us? Even in our own country, our own citizens. Who are the people that are really raging war? Here's the thing I'm figuring out, and I think most people have. It's not business people. It's not innovators. It's not freedom lovers. Mostly, it's educators. And it is people who never worked. They just taught. And I don't mean this ignorantly. Teachers are some of the most important people on the planet. However, you can't lose face or fact of who you are. You don't know anything about industry. You don't know anything about running a business. You don't know anything about rationing money. You don't know anything about that. Now, you could teach economics, and it's real simple, right? Supply, demand, staffing, all that. But when it gets down to it, and you have to deal in personalities and loopholes, and now you're dealing with bureaucracy to even get a building open. So that's not taught in school,
Right.
And when you realize that the people waging the war are the ones in these colleges talking to these kids and telling them how evil and awful that these businessmen and women who built our country and gave us all this freedom and the world's greatest country to live in, all of a sudden they're all horrible people. Like, it's just, they want to enjoy all the fruits of the labor without getting in line to contribute to the labor. And that's the part I've always fought. And I find England especially, every time I watch the regular folk, I don't know what you call them there, common people, whatever. You know what I mean? Just the average man or woman in England. It's like that. Just, they're hard workers. They want to go to work, whatever it is. They come home. They want to love their kids, watch the match, scream, drink some beers, go to bed, repeat.
Yeah.
And that's the American dream, right? Kids are safe. We got food. We got a house. I got a job. We got a car. Let's try to fit a vacation or two in and enjoy life.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that's the world dream, isn't it? You got women in under this Sharia law and stuff. Some of them might have a good time, but having to cover yourselves up and all these things. We look at Iran before, the coup 47 years ago, and how happy everyone was. And we've seen a lot of videos now since Trump's gone in there of people in Iran. That used to be a Christian country, didn't it, predominantly?
Yeah.
And it's, these imams and all this stuff have pushed this Islam, Sharia law and stuff. And you can't say, we say this all the time. It's not all the Jews, it's not all the Muslims, not all the blacks, not all the whites and all that. There's some bad eggs that spoil it for the rest of them in every culture of life.
Well, go ahead, Elisa. I
was going to say, let's not forget, the problem is the infiltration, because that's why, the businessmen and these different power structures have, gotten such a bad name, because they've been infiltrated by the dark side. And then you lose sight of the innovators. I mean, say what you will. I know that there's a lot of bad that we found out, let's say, about Walt Disney and all of that, but it was still very innovative to have a play. If you look at it from the normal everyday person, you go to this place, parents and children can do something together. Like, it's all been infiltrated. And I wanted to just say one other thing. There's a reason these young kids, because, sorry about the dog, I thought
it was my girlfriend in the back. I was getting ready to tell her to be quiet.
We look at these young kids now that have the ability to go on the internet, right? Like, my daughter's 19, my younger daughter, and they have been able to take a little trip into, back in time, right? They're able to listen to the music. I mean, when we were kids, whatever was popular was on the radio, right? Maybe there was a station from the 1940s when you were growing up but for the most part, it was whatever was at the time. Now these kids are able to go back and do that. They're able to see what neighborhoods look like. You have all these different, and my 19-year-old has said repeatedly, almost on a daily basis, how she wishes she could go back in time and live when we lived, to be able to say what she wants to say, to not have the nanny stay telling them, all this control. She said, I look at old movies. I look at things from back then. Excuse me, I'll get back to you guys with this.
I think your dogs might be liberals. They don't like anything you're saying right now.
Anyway, the point I was making is that she said there was so much more creativity because people weren't being hindered by what they couldn't say or what was appropriate and so that's the beautiful thing. I think why this younger generation, as we were talking about off screen, they are able to get a little bird's eye view. I don't know about your kids, but my daughter is obsessed with 1970s music.
My middle child, Michael, who's I call him Bub. He is I mean, his favorite bands are the Beatles, Pink Floyd, all of it, Queen, Led Zeppelin. Yeah, I mean, and here's the funny thing. I saw this again this week. I forget who was talking about it. I might have been Tim Pool. Said that if you go look at the Billboard charts, once USAID or once USAID was raided and the money dried up, rap music hasn't had a song on the charts since. It's a fact.
Wow.
It was all manipulated.
It was.
And I have friends. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the music business myself. I managed maybe the biggest rock bar in the country, Hammerjacks, at 19 years old. I mean, I paid the Black Crowes $50 to open up for a band called Junkyard. 6 months later, they came back and got $38,000.
Oh my God.
Like, that was my childhood, my young or late teens. So I met all these musicians. And one of the things that I always remember, and it's helped me in this time, was that when you get into politics and you get into like trying to appease an audience, you get pigeonholed because then you're a victim of your own propaganda. And the reason I'm telling this story is you were talking about a better time. These younger kids look back and they go, wow, it was cooler then. And you hear a lot of the enemy will say, oh, that's because it was a racist. Black people didn't do it. So I'm watching a comedian 3 weeks ago in my club, and he's brilliant. And he said, and it was all black audience. And he said to all of them, he said, man, wouldn't it be great if we could go back to like the 70s and 80s? And there I was in the back of the crowd. And I know I'm the only one thinking, even they think it was better.
Yeah.
Right? Even they. The black people who've suffered more than anyone in America, say whatever you want. No one has had it hard as the black American has. That's just a fact.
Yep.
You're an asshole if you don't believe that. You're just a racist. But when you see that market and you see that audience and those performers saying it was a better time, it was easier. Nobody. I remember, I mean, between sports and entertainment, I was around everyone.
Yeah,
gays, blacks. I mean, I've stood in a room naked with 4 guys changing in a play. I'm the only straight guy in the room. But you don't think about that stuff in that moment, right? Exactly. And it doesn't matter. And it's so when I look back on the last 10, 15 years in the media, and I see how these generations were just poisoned to believe that if you're white, you're automatically a racist, right? If you're black, you're automatically a victim. If you're gay, you're automatically suppressed. If you're trans, oh my God, they're going to kill you and put you in a camp. And it's just madness.
It really is. I had a friend, maybe going back 20 years, 25 years. They owned a carpet business, very successful. They were from Iran. Yeah. And I was talking to the woman right now. So they left, right? They literally packed up their whatever they could carry and they left. And I said, she goes, let me tell you something. She goes, we were going to school. We were going to college. We were wearing mini skirts. She goes, this is her exact words. It's a fucking shithole now. Yep. He said, they destroyed the country. They destroyed our culture. Everything. She said, and there was no way we were going to stay there. And so what did they do? They came to this country and they built businesses and their children went into business. So this is every kind of immigrant that was not forced or given all these, in order to, again, infiltrate, to bring them over to destroy our culture. And I just wrote one other thing I wanted to say. When you were talking about educators, right? Yeah. And the best movie that illustrates that, I was a communications film major, so that's why everything.
Oh, cool. All right.
Movie. But if you watch Back to School in the 80s with
one of my favorite movies.
Yep, with Rodney Dangerfield. And he has to go back to school and he's sitting there with the pompous, sorry, Stu.
Economics teacher. Yeah.
The guy, and he's like, after he puts all the little lists of what you needed to do to start a business, he's like, whoa, you forgot this. And he goes through all the things he forgot.
He said, and you got to go and you got to get the Teamsters involved.
Right, you got to grease the local politicians.
And I don't know if you know who runs that business or not.
They're not the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, and then now what do we call this company? Let's call it Fantasyland.
Exactly.
No, you're so right. Hey, Stu, I wanted to ask you, man. So, here in America, we can say, I think, a lot more than you can in England. Is that true? Like, do you guys get in trouble for words there?
Well, that has never, ever stopped me saying
but is it illegal to say that stuff in England, to say certain things?
Yeah, but you have to be careful what you say. Look, I can call Fauci a rat-faced little bastard quite easily online doing this, right? But if you're going online wishing death to people and, other aggressive stuff like that, I believe that, and these are allegedly the statistics, that we have had 3 times more people arrested for online posts than I think the next one down the list is Russia. We've had 12,000 people arrested in this country. People are being put in prison.
For
words. I think, yes.
For words.
Yes.
That's unreal.
On Facebook and other things.
Yeah. I mean, that is the one thing. And I always tell people on the right as well, they get mad. So-and-so said this. I'm like, yeah, they can. To let them say it. Like, we get to say stuff back. Right. And I think a great example of this was that Elon Musk interview this week. I mean,
that was amazing.
It was a master class in calling out bullshit. I mean, when you literally look someone in the face and go, you can say people hate me. I have 250 million followers. Everyone hates you. Every person hates the media. And he's right.
Yeah.
And they think they got him in gotcha moments. Like, that's what kills me, how lost the media is. They think they're presenting gotcha moments, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, you got me, all right. You got me to love this guy. You got me. Way to go. And your elections over there, I mean, I don't know what happened, but and I don't understand a lot of the parties, like the Labour Party, the breakdown in English politics, because there are so many different parties and factions. I wanted to ask you, do you think it's a more productive system, parliament, or is a congressional Senate system, in your opinion, a more effective way to govern?
Well, I think we're all learning that they're both completely farcical, aren't they? Running as the way they are. But 10 years ago, 15 years ago, everyone gave politics a swerve, pretty much, because it was too boring. It's made too boring, so you don't understand it. Legalese was made, so none of us understand it. Oh, just sign on the dotted line. Things like that. Two-party politics is there to give us the illusion that we have a choice when we don't. They're all puppets, and it's like kayfabe amongst that lot, because they all go off to dinner together and do all these things. They're just playing a part. But people are waking up to that. Our 2 main parties here, the Conservatives and Labour, right? And then you've got the Lib Dems on the periphery, and then you've got like Nigel Farage now, Reform, and Rupert Lowe, Restore.
Yeah.
Labour and Conservatives, pretty much like Republican and Democrat over there, and you've got a few others and stuff. But yeah, it's just everyone has got their eyes on this. People that never gave a toss about politics, and some still don't. And I've got my eyes more on America than over there. But obviously then, when Nigel Farage came in, and a lot of people say he's a wrong and this sort of stuff, and he's gone back on policies and things, but he's been over there with Trump, right? Yeah. He flew over to interview Trump. He's been on stage with Trump at a couple of rallies. He's working for Trump, with Trump, whether he's good, bad, flipped, or whatever. And then potentially Nigel Farage didn't get enough of a draw from these people. So I think the White Hats then brought in Rupert Lowe, had a split there, right, to draw some of the people away that don't want to go to Farage, right? And then obviously when Rupert Lowe did that, put that advert out, and on the 29-second mark, the hotel into a queue, we're all going, hold up, here we go. It's just very, very interesting. But let me just finish here that we are in the Biden years here. we are. It's all our eyes on America because the 16-year plan to take down America. If they'd taken America down, that was it for anywhere.
Yeah, game over.
That was the main focus. But now you'll see that Trump and the military have got all these things under control, and whether it's Patriots in absolute full control, partial control, we are seeing this play out, especially with Fauci yesterday. But we are maybe a year or two behind. We're still going through this stuff. A lot of people say to me, why are you talking about America all the time? That's why I had to make England great again,
Yeah, I love it.
Make England, Earth, and Europe great again. The whole lot.
Well, you know what's really interesting, Stewie, and I go back to something I said earlier about this being really about religion and ideology. I think a lot of people forget the origins of Christianity. The base roots were in the Middle East. It was not a European religion. Most of the Europeans at that time were pagans. They worshipped weird gods. I mean, England had tons of it. You know that. But what happened is that Christianity really started to get a stronghold. And if we all know who the evil people are, that really sort of were the original backers of this Islamic movement, which drove Christians either into submission or eviction. And tons of people fled into Europe and brought that religion with them. And the growth of Christianity really took off and boomed at the onslaught of the Islamic attacks on Christianity. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to get into what religion is right or wrong, because that's for somebody to figure out on their own. I will say this. I'm pretty sure that nowhere in the New Testament does it say that if somebody doesn't want to be a Christian, you get to kill them. It doesn't say that anywhere. And one religion says if you kill a bunch of people in the name of God, you are a martyr and you go to heaven and get 72 virgins. The other religion says if you kill a bunch of people, you go to hell and burn in fire for the rest of your life. So if you just take the main part of the religion, which is your relationship with God and what you're allowed to do, then just ask yourself, what religion seems a little more on the humanitarian side? Which one seems a little more like the one God, who supposedly loves us, wanted us to be like? It's not to say that the millions and millions and millions of Muslims out there that are wonderful, amazing people, but the ideology behind the very tops of these religions, and I'll pull the Catholic Church into it, I'll pull the deep state of Israel into all this. These are not religious people. These are people that hijacked a religion for their own gains. These are corporations that operate in religion. That is their product. And until people stop looking in front of them for answers of their religion and start looking up and in, we're never going to figure this out.
Yeah, exactly.
I just think that as somebody that grew up very religious in the Catholic Church, I was molested by a priest. I wasn't actually touched. But I'll tell you, can I be honest on this show about that?
Yeah, that's what we're all about.
I was a devout Catholic. I was an altar boy. I loved being that. I loved my religion. I loved the church. I loved my community. And I had a priest that I loved. And I was an hour early for Mass on a Sunday morning, daylight savings or whatever, leap ahead. I forget how that would work. And I knocked on the rectory door. He said, "Oh, come in. I'll make breakfast." And then he asked me if I ever watched a man masturbate. I said no. And he said, "All young men do it. They teach other men how to do it."
How old were you, Mickey?
11. I don't know, 7th, 8th grade, wherever you are. I might have been 16 because I failed a couple times. But no, the truth is I was like 11. And, and I watched. What do you do? It's a priest. I thought that this was God talking to me. And it wasn't until probably my early 20s where I sat back and I went, "Wait a minute. I don't know one other dude that was taught how to masturbate by a priest. I think I might have been duped." And I left religion that day. I'm able to joke about it now, but I will tell you that it fucked me up for a lot of my adult life. Now, I didn't go down the drug road, and I didn't go down the drinking road, but depression and anxiety ruled my life before it was a thing. There were times in my life where short periods I'd be a little agoraphobic. I wouldn't leave the house for a couple weeks. And then later in life, that stuff it haunts you. And now, when I finally bottomed out a couple years ago emotionally and lost everything I had just from sheer depression, that's all it was. I stopped working. My kids were like, Dad, what's going on? I lost everything, checked myself into a hospital. And in that hospital, everybody the first 3 days, they're like, we're going to pray for you. And I was like, man, fuck you guys with these prayers. Like, I'm suffering. I don't see any angels. And then they just kept saying it. And I started thinking about it. And then I asked myself one day, why do they keep saying that to me? These are good people. They're not trying to hurt me. And I went back and I thought about Jesus as a person. And I started there. Just, okay, what would he say? Everybody says, what would Jesus do? So I went and looked. And I just started remembering, wow, this is just, it's a philosophy. You can call it a religion, sure. I believe he lived. I believe he was the greatest man that ever lived. Did he fly into the sky when God called? I don't know. I wasn't there. But I do know that I believe in what he said enough to believe that he was not like us, that he sacrificed himself for us. And for me, that is enough reason to just say, yeah, I'm home. Here's a man I can get behind. He's not telling us to hurt anyone, telling us to love everybody. And here's the thing that I think a lot of people, especially that aren't really level-headed, forget. At no point in the Bible, Jesus says, turn the other cheek. That is a metaphor. And what that really means is retaliation. Don't retaliate later. That's what it means. Somebody walks up and punches you. I don't think Jesus expects you to just take an ass whooping for no reason. Yeah. Right? I mean, no one would do that. That's not human. No animal on the planet does it. And I would never attack someone, but I would defend any innocent person with any means necessary. If you're trying to kill, I have no problem doing it back. I'll never be the one trying to kill first in my life. But we have, as humans, as free thinking people, we are now under this idea that just being a good person isn't enough. Other people have to be special and above you. And no one's above me on earth. There's not one human above me, but there's also not one beneath me. Right. Not one. I live on a level playing field with every single human I meet in the beginning. Hi. And they can walk up and go, I'm a general in Hamas. My first words are going to be, can I have a chance of talking you out of that? That's going to be the first thing I say to the guy. Can I have 5 minutes of your time? Right. And at the end of that time, if he tells me to F off, I'll certainly will. Yeah. That guy's got to live with his decisions. And I just don't know when the adults left the room. I don't get it. I'll never will. And I see guys like Stewie, and I think, man, he's looking to America for guidance, like the world has done, whether we want to admit it or not. The last 100 years, the world looked to America and went, what do we do? What do we do? All of Europe sat there while America went, don't worry, Russia's not going to mess with you because of us, right? I mean, it's just, in England, I give them credit. World War II, I mean, and a lot of Americans don't know their history. England took the ass whooping of a lifetime and then went and fought them on the front. And we joined. And together, free-thinking people defeated that. And it can happen again. I just don't know why we're not allowed to say, that guy doesn't like us, and he's trying to kill us. And that's what's happening with this radicalization of Islam in this country. Yeah.
I think they're bringing it to the forefront. They have to. And it has to go to the other extreme, because if we believe patriots are in control, and you have to see it really obviously to get that. I want to address a couple of things. Thank you for sharing that very vulnerable story. I think anybody in our audience, anybody out there, you know, we we tend to focus a lot on sort of trafficking and MK Ultra, which, is the extreme of all this. But any child that has ever been terrorized or scared, you have to heal at some point, because it gets in your DNA and in your neural pathways, and it doesn't go away by just not thinking about it. So, kudos to you for doing that very hard work and getting through it. I also, really, really. I know how hard healing is from stuff. So, and the other thing I wanted to just comment on with this idea of religion and the Bible and turn the other cheek, part of what has been so twisted, and I can only speak from the Catholic Church because I was raised Roman Catholic too, is like you're automatically a sinner and you're just supposed to forgive when someone hurt. No, first of all, forgiveness is about your own freedom and about your own, like, freeing yourself. It's not about the other person. It's about letting go so that you can move on. And turning the other cheek, you're absolutely right. Look at Trump, right? He says, I won't strike first, but if you want to see my counterpunch, it's going to be pretty bad.
Stewie, you grew up, did you grow up in London? What part of England are you from?
I'm from Kent. In fact, I live in a little place called Folkestone, and we are pretty much the closest. We were just down 5 miles down the coast from Dover. We are the closest bit of England in the bottom corner to France. So I can see France on a clear day.
Now, is Brighton down there?
Yeah, Brighton's about 40 miles down the coast.
Okay, so I got the idea where you're at. So let me ask you this. Growing up, Stewie, if a guy in the neighborhood's walking down the street shoulder popping guys, acting like a badass, somebody's going to punch him in the face eventually, right?
Exactly that.
Yeah. I mean, when did we decide that we were just supposed to take abuse? We have to be the better person.
We didn't decide it, Mickey. It was decided for us so that we could be controlled. And maybe our generation was the last one that knew how to duke it out.
Yes.
But the generations that came afterwards were so brainwashed. And a lot of this anti-bullying movement, which I am in no way defending a bully because it's usually a coward.
Right.
But the point being, we took care of bullies. We took care of them. We did it on our own terms and we took care of them. But to tell kids they can't stand up for themselves and to highlight the most awful aspects of bullying instead, like, oh, this kid, they committed suicide. No, it's not because of bullying. It's because nobody taught them and helped them to defend against the bully. I have a girlfriend whose daughter was being bullied. I don't know how old she was, 8, 9, 10. And she literally, now, of course, we're talking New York City people, right?
Right, yeah.
She went to little bit of a thing, cutest friend I have, went over to the mother's house, knocked on the door, all dressed up, real cute. And she goes, hi. She's like, I'm so-and-so's mother. She's like, you're so-and-so's mother, right? Oh, yeah. She goes, okay, I just want to tell you something. If your daughter picks on my daughter again, I'm going to come over here and beat the shit out of you. And she walked away. Kids, stop bullying.
You know what's so funny about that story? It's like my boys. I have two sons that are so much alike, but so opposite in other ways. The younger one, I mean, he takes no shit. The older one, he's that kid, man. Okay. He's a pacifist, and I love him. He's the most amazing mind. He's just not a fighter, and there are some people like that, and I get it. Here's the difference. When I was younger, the kids that couldn't fight, that were a little softer or weaker, but we loved them, we took up for them.
Right.
We didn't record it on our phones. We walked up, 3 of us, and beat the shit out of the bully. We didn't have any phones. We just took care of our friends. And interestingly, if you look at the Islamic thing right now, all these communities, like especially in Brooklyn, they handle their own community. That's their rule. Oh, no. We'll police our own community. We'll do this. We'll take care of it. You know what they do when somebody gets out of line? Take them in a basement and beat the shit out of them.
That's right. That's what we did in the Italian culture.
Of course.
Let me tell you something. My father, he grew up in East Harlem. They had a lot. It was very mobbed up in those days.
Oh, yeah.
And when one of theirs Like some guy was being very disrespectful to my grandfather, taking the numbers in his building. And my grandfather asked him several times. He mouthed off. He was rude. Do you know that the mob boss drove up in a big caddy, took the guy, beat the shit out of him, and said, "Now you go apologize."
Yeah. I guarantee your grandfather never had an issue with the guy again.
No.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Tyson's got the greatest quote in the world. Everybody thinks they're great until they get punched in the face. And it's so true. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Well, and, you know, that's a lot of things, too. I've been punched in the face 100 times in my life. And you learn lessons. I know what I can and cannot say to another man without the risk of getting hit.
Right. You don't need the government telling you what you can say and what words are off limit and you can't say this and you can't say that. And this whole idea of the N-word, listen, we never used that in my family. I mean, some of the old timers did. Yeah. But it was, you know, we were taught respect. So you don't act like that. However, all that did was just build fear. And it also just reinforced that Black people in this country are victims instead of the fact of all the wonderful things they've contributed to America and all the things they've done and and it just summed it all up. Like, you're a victim if someone calls you this. No, you could call someone something worse if they call you that.
Yeah. I'll tell you a great story. I was at a Ravens game and I have my ex-wife with me, a couple other couples, and behind us was a row, like a Black family. The 4 guys, their 4 wives. Behind them were these other people. Well, during the game, I could hear the Black guy say, "Man, shut up," like mad. And I turned around and he's arguing with these white guys behind him. And then I listened for a minute. I realized the white guys were just being trash. So I stood up and I was like, "Hey guys, what are you doing? Like, you're acting like an asshole." Well, they kept mouthing off, and these Black guys beat the piss out of these white guys in the stands. And I could not believe how many people in the stands, all white, came to the defense of these 4 Black guys. Like, no, they joined the game. This drunk asshole what are they supposed to do? They're threatening women. And I remember walking out of there going, there's not a racism problem in this country. There's an asshole problem in this country. That's what it is. We have a bunch of assholes. And you know, so I don't buy any of the lies. I say whatever I want. I perform for Black audiences all the time. I mean, entirely Black audiences. Love it. Both of us love it. They love it. I love it because I just talk like a person. I don't have an agenda. The same shit that pisses me off pisses off a Black dude.
Yeah.
The same shit that I look at and go, that's bullshit. A Black guy looks at and goes, that's bullshit. We just been taught to blame it on different people.
Yeah, just to fight against ourselves, towards each other rather than the real enemy, right? That's the whole point.
Divide and conquer.
That's it.
And I mean, look, in the old days when a couple of blokes maybe used to have a scrap and all that, a lot of the time they used to have a beer after, they've got that dusted. But we were talking before we came on and stuff, growing up through the 80s, everyone used to whip the shit out of everyone. We had all the comedians used to be on stage here, the UK comedians, Frank Carson and all of them. And they were, racist jokes, Irish jokes, all this sorts of stuff. No one cared.
Of course.
Because everyone used to laugh together and drink together and play sport together and all these sorts of things, kick each other during the game and then have a laugh after. Do you know what I mean? It was a different time. But this agenda they've had for many, many years. They've taken the discipline away from people. You're not allowed to discipline your children how you wanted to, and all sorts of things like this. And Mickey, have you ever heard of the Frankfurt School on your rabbit holing journey?
I know the name, but I'm not going to lie. I don't know why I know it.
Let me just read this quickly, right?
Yeah.
Frankfurt School was founded in 1923. It was like an old boys think tank about what they wanted to do. The Frankfurt School has 11 objectives to destroy society, right? And this was in 1923. I'll read these quick 11 out, and you think about what's going on now. 1, the creation of racism offences. continual change to create confusion, the teaching of sex and homosexuality to children, the undermining of schools and teachers' authority, huge immigration to destroy identity, the promotion of excessive drinking, emptying of churches, an unreliable legal system with bias against victims of crime, dependency on the state or state benefits, control and dumbing down by the media, and encouraging the breakdown of the family. And here we are.
I mean, you know, who was it? I think the Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx, I think it was, said, give me a generation in school and I'll overthrow a government. I mean,
100%.
Yeah. I mean, when you look back, you know, in American history, especially, America has a long, like Britain, or England, I should say, has a long history of political sarcasm, of outspoken rhetoric. And it's what made our cultures great. It addressed the differences. It made aware of things other people thought. And it brought change. Discourse brings change. But calm discourse and explanatory discourse is what brings change. Violence brings nothing. It can bring change, but it will bring retribution. If you can gradually educate people into what's best for them, you're going to win every time. And for years, America did that. It taught our kids civics. It taught us humility. It taught us that we could dream beyond dreams. And you look at the inventors, the businessmen and women that have come out of this country and the things they've created and the industries that boom in this world because of American innovation came from that concept. Now, the concept of America is, well, everybody that invented everything owns everything, so there's no reason to do anything. And what a ridiculous way to think. Because I got news for everybody. 25, 30 years from now, right? Just do the math in your head, how old you're going to be. None of the shit we deal now will be around. That's how fast things change. In my lifetime, we had one television with 3 channels. Now, in my hand, I can talk to the world, the whole planet. I can look at live pictures of the moon. In my lifetime, that happened. So another 25, 30 years, it's a joke. And we need people to believe in what America is. And I believe England, I wish to God, I wish that England would become a state. I hate to say it that way because it's sort of, I don't mean to degrade England in any way, but if England became a state of the United States, I think other countries would follow it. Let me ask you, Stewie, what's one thing as an Englishman you have that I as an American don't have and want?
Nothing. Well, an Arsenal shirt. That's about it. Isn't it?
And you know,
nothing. And it should be like that everywhere around the world, shouldn't it?
I mean, I think if Europe was smart, the entire continent of Europe should make a move to embrace America. I mean, the world is coming down to 3 or 4 superpowers. Pick a side, people. Pick a side. Because I got news for the Eastern Front of Europe. If you think that's just going to stay that way and you're going to be fine if the U.S. goes, okay, good luck, boys, you'll be done in a month. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the harsh reality of the world we live in. And if we all came together globally, the deep state would be dead in a year. Because who's going to fight for them? Who is going to fight for the deep state now? Yeah. And that's what's ruined the world.
You know, when Stu was reading the Frankfurt School, different I guess tenets of what they believe and what they want to. Another thing dawned on me that never dawned on me before. We spend a lot of time on this show, and of course with you, talking about how when the 80s, and we would just take the piss as
sure.
out of each other but let me tell you something else. It wasn't just about this victimization and making us unable to have freedom of speech. You know what it also did? If you made fun of me as an Italian, you were taking into because generalities and stereotypes happen for a reason. People say, oh, don't stereotype. Well, there's certain very specific things about each culture. They should be celebrated, right? So if you're making fun of me as an Italian for something, that is a stereotype, or an English person, or a Puerto Rican person, or a Black person, it's also not being able to do that is erasing who they are and trying to make it like we're all exactly the same. And even though we're the same as humans, we are not the same culturally, and we all bring something so special. Like, think of our country and now the world, right? Pizza. You got pizza, you got bagels, you got like shit that comes from different cultures that we wouldn't have. And I'm just saying food.
I won't even trust somebody that doesn't like Chinese food. You can't even be in my life if you don't like Chinese food. There's something wrong with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, curry's mine.
Curry's yours?
Yeah. A proper Ruby Murray, as we call it over here. Yeah, he's amazing food. Absolutely beautiful.
Right. I mean, that is the one thing about America, Elisa, that I think that we just forgot. What's so incredible about America is an American is the combination of the world.
Yeah.
We're the country that the rest of the world built.
Yeah.
People forget how many Germans, how many Irish, how many Dutch, how many, you could just go down the list of European countries. Were most of them white? Yes. Most of Europe was white that came here. But these weren't all the same people. Ask a Scottishman and an Englishman if they're the same people.
Right.
Ask that question. Ask an Irishman and an Englishman or a Scotsman if they're the same.
Right, but it's not even just Europe, Mickey.
No,
look at all the people that came in from the Caribbean.
Oh, my God.
Right? My mom had a cleaning woman. She was like part of the family.
Yeah.
I never had the food.
Unreal.
She had, like, she would cook for them, and I was like, what the heck? And then we tried to reproduce. I was like, I can't get it right. So you had the Caribbean, you had parts of South America, Peru and Mexico, right? And what about what they brought with culture, with dancing, with music, with the Brazilian movement in the 60s, with all that beautiful, music that came. So like, now that the world has gotten smaller, obviously England and parts of Europe, I'm not talking about the invasion. I'm talking about people who desired, for whatever reason, to be in these countries. They brought their culture, right? When I went to England for the first time in 1986, I don't think I ever had Indian food. Now, I was from New York, but I didn't have I didn't have a lot of Indian friends. And that was the first time I had it. And I was like, whoa.
Yes.
So even in these European countries, as people started to go to different places or school and stayed, it's worldwide that they've tried to convince us we can't have stereotypes. We can't, be honest by this, making everybody not be able to speak and say what's on their mind. Because part of that is not just taking the piss, it's also recognizing those special differences.
Yeah. And even in the religious sense, I've never driven by a synagogue or a mosque and thought, I wish that building would blow up.
Right.
I've never once. And I'll tell you something else. If I was walking in front of it and someone said, hey, there's a service inside, you're not supposed to walk when they do that. Oh, no problem. I would respect it. Like, I'm not a jerk. I don't hate your religion. I hate that your religion tells me mine's bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm not telling you yours is. I mean, it is, but I'm not telling you that. You know what I mean?
Well, no, but
I would never, ever go to another country and not respect their culture. That's what it's all about. And in fact, every country I've been to, I buy a little Collins phrase book, not a dictionary, a phrase book, so I can try and speak a little bit their lingo to be polite and order a couple of things, usually beer, but whatever.
Yeah.
And I just like to do that. But, there's certain places in the UK that the British police won't go into. And you've got people walking around chanting here, the same as they're doing over there, deaf to America, deaf to the UK and stuff.
Yeah, I know this much, that if I stood up in a movie theater and yelled fire, I get arrested.
Yeah.
Right? But if I stand on the street and yell death to Christians,
then it's okay to exercise your First Amendment right. Yeah. But I will say, look, we're going to talk honest here. Let's talk honest. As you said before, this is not a comment against what I call the average slob, right? We're all average slobs, okay? And if you're raised in a certain religion and you're just living a good life and you're trying to get your kids to grow up healthy and happy and, like you said, take a vacation, have a nice home, whatever.
Yeah.
But so we're all kind of that, right, around the world. However, when a doctrine of any kind, okay, says that you can marry a 6-year-old or it's okay to beat the shit out of your wife because she's, equal to an animal, you got to wonder about that aspect of things. And I'm not saying that people that are in the Muslim community, at least the ones I know, they're not doing that. They have daughters, they respect them. But in these countries, like, I don't know that is something that we have brought into this country. And you've got these segments of places where it's okay to practice Sharia law and all this. That's where it's all about the infiltration of taking down our countries.
And the worst part, and Stu, I do got to go soon because we got our show at noon. But I do want to tell you guys that in regards to what you just said, Elisa, when your religion is based on the fact that the other religions are evil, you're starting at a bad place. Yeah, I believe. And I don't see the real problem I have is that moderate Islamists, moderate Muslims are not screaming from the rooftops.
No.
That's what scares me. If there was a Christian movement right now in this country that was saying you have to be a white Christian nationalist, the Christians in this country would go ape over that. They would lose their minds separating themselves and chastising and criticizing those Christians that are saying that. But in the Muslim community, if you scream from the river to the sea, you get applause. You're a hero. And I want to know where the moderate Muslims are that are trying to assimilate, that are trying to become Americans like they say. Well, then why aren't you doing the American thing and shouting down hatred? That's what Americans are supposed to do. We're supposed to shout down hatred and separation. That's what we're supposed to do.
Because they're still living in fear, Mickey.
Bingo. Of each other.
Yeah, exactly.
They fear each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the saddest part.
Yeah, I just want to say that Elisa might have shut her dog up earlier, but her gardener's turned up now.
That's why I had to go upstairs.
It doesn't matter how many times she tells him, he always turns up during the Thursday show. It's becoming quite common.
Every week I say, can you come at like 12? And every week I get, I have to be coming at, because he's Spanish. He goes, I will be coming at, 10:30, sorry, or whatever, 11. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, brilliant. That's it. What you got to do if you want them to show up late? Hire a young white kid. They're never on time and they're lazy, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, so Mickey, you've only got a little bit left, but just tell us, because a lot of us have seen you with, coming onto Rambo and What's Your Awakening Journey, but how's that been for you? Because not only have you done that, Elisa and I were talking about trying to get you on our show. Yeah. But then Elisa's cousin phoned up. That's a story, if we've got enough time for it. We do our own show now, Red Pilling Renee, one of our cousins. He woke up for the Q drops. But not only from that, your journey through Rambo, right? You started doing Mickey Alone now. I watched your episode 3 with Cheryl earlier, which is really good. And we also do a family chat where we've just been getting anyone out of our audience in the chat can come on every other Saturday. And it's been amazing. We've had some heartfelt stories come on from people, some laughter and stuff. And we are all helping people so much.
Well, I'll tell you, Stewie, Matt and I both come from radio. And one of the great gifts in radio is that phone, and as a comic, I always wanted to I need that instant reaction. And I found that by opening the phone lines, we do it just about every show. We just open it up at any point. You want to come on and join the show? I've always been a believer that if you want people to listen to your voice, you got to give them a chance for their voice to be heard too. And as much as I love the thousands that sit every day and watch our show, I also wish they could all be on it. because when other people that just watch and don't want to come on see their mate or their friend or their whoever on there, they go, wow, it is possible. We all do think the same. Like they see what I see in this show, or they hear what I hear in this show. And I think seeing the guests, the fans, whatever you want to call them, the viewers on the shows is the best way to keep the audience. Because, you know, I'm a blowhard. I could talk for 10 hours. But if I don't know what people are thinking, hearing it, I'm just talking to a blank wall. And when I think other people hear their compadres say, yeah, that's what I think, you go, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not alone. My family doesn't know what they're talking about. My aunt's an asshole for doing this, whatever. And I think it just makes everything that we do relatable. Yeah. And so, but the journey with Rambo, I got to tell you, Stewie, this thing has been amazing for me. I was a little more awake than I probably let on in the beginning. I didn't know anything about Q. I didn't read one drop before Rambo. That's all the truth. Always knew we were getting screwed. Always knew that there was a deep state that didn't care about any of us. I didn't know how to put it all together. And that's what you guys in this movement is. It's connecting pieces. And that's what I love. No one has all the pieces, but the community does. And when you're missing a piece, you go find that person that knows that piece, whether it's MK Ultra, whether it's the pyramids, whether it's UAPs, whether it's Congress, whether it's MK Ultra, whatever it is, there's somebody out there that you go, hey, I need to know about that. And you get them on and they tell you and you go, yeah, that's what I thought. And that's the part of this whole movement that I think is unstoppable. When you have all the answers, just not in one place, you win. Because they can't come in and take it from you because the answers are everywhere now.
Exactly. And also when you look at the lamestream media, it was an echo chamber. Like there's that famous video where like everyone has the same thing they're saying. So it's just brainwashing. So with what we've all done collectively over the last, say, 5 years, really, right, where it's really taken off, is now we have more out there than the mainstream. We're getting more views. Now, you may watch us and like a certain aspect of this, but like you said, you have the ability to go different places. And some of us are repeating the same things in our own way, but many of us are coming with a different perspective. So it's just a brilliant plan if you think about it, the way they've empowered us to be part of the alliance in order to re-educate and break the Stockholm syndrome that everybody has, been suffering from for the last decades.
Well, I'm going to say this on my way out here. First of all, to both of you, this show is awesome. I really enjoyed it. I'd love to come back on, and I'd love to have you two on our show if you guys would like to do it. But I do want to say the more of these types of things that happen when you band audiences together and you build a network, you start to realize that it is a real movement. And it doesn't matter who's in charge of it. It doesn't matter who's leading it. It's just being done. And that's the thing I love, And one day I have 3 dreams about doing this. One is eventually I want to do a stadium event where the whole community shows up from all over the world. Just maybe 100,000 people that we all go to one event. I don't even have to be on it. Just have that event. That's number 1. Number 2, I want to go to England and do comedy. And I just want to rip England apart in the best way possible. And then third, and I think this is my main point, is I want people in 5-10 years to remember people like us and go, hey, you know what? Thanks. You guys never gave up. They called you crazy. They tried to take you. They tried to ruin you, but you stuck with it and you were right. And that was it. And I don't need millions. I don't need that kind of stuff. I just want to know that all this effort from people like yourselves, me, Matt, my partner, Rambo, Dave, Storm, like I could go down the list, that it's not for nothing. That's it. And if we wake up enough people, it won't be. So we got to keep waking them up.
Exactly that. Let me just finish with 2 points then. I did hear you mention on that chat with Cheryl that another one of your ideas was to have a massive game of Jeopardy online.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
That'd be so cool.
keep us in mind.
Jeopardy. Yeah.
Keep us in mind for that. And if you do come over here, try and time it, and I'll see if I can get tickets for Arsenal Man United. Hopefully, when it's in London, though, I ain't going up there.
No, we're going north, buddy. We're going north.
No, we'll have to toss a coin, all right?
I would be honored to go to either place, man. Thank you, Stewie. Elisa, thank you so much. And we'll definitely do this again, man.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, God bless you, Mickey.
Thank
I love you, Matt. And once I've downloaded all the chat, I'll probably throw you over a raid if you're just.
You got it, brother. Thank you so much, guys. All right, peace. All
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone in the chat. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Right. Up the Gunners.
Drops on the board, it's down to the wire. Lines of green text like the inquiring fires. A post drops at midnight, no warning, just a trip. We gather like ghosts on a digital ship. Numbers and crumbs, mirrors and strings, dates that don't match, but the feeling it brings. A question mark hanging like smoke in the air. We chase every thread cause the truth isn't fair. Eyes locked, hearts racing, keyboards alive. Millions of anons refusing to hide. Patterns, drowning out the noise. Patterns, lifting every stone, exposing lies. Q drops the map, we connect the dots. In the silence between, we find what we sought. Patterns, shining through the storm. Patterns, keeping the unfaith warm. From the crumbs to the proof, we decode the night. Together we rise in the Q light. Proves past, echoes down the wire. Red pills raining while the sleepers retire. 17s in the replies, like a prayer. We dig through the archives, we're already there. Symbols and signs in the news of the day. A tweet at the timestamp leads us astray. Then Q comes back with the marker and key. Unlocks what was hidden for the world to see. No leaders, no masters, just truth in the code. We're writing the future on this endless road. Patterns, breaking through the noise. Patterns, lifting every veil and lie. Q drops the map, we connect the dots. In the silence between, we find what we sought. Patterns, shining through the storm. Patterns, keeping the non-faith warm. From the crumbs to the proof, we decode the nights. Together we rise in the Q light. They call us crazy, they shadow ban hard, but the pattern keeps forming, it's written in stars. When the clock strikes the hour and the storm finally breaks, every anon will remember the risks that we take. No surrender, no sleep, till the light overcomes. We follow the drops till the kingdom comes. Patterns, echoing through time. Patterns, turning water into wine. Q drops the map, we became the light. In the war for the mind, we stood through the fight. Patterns, carved in history's stones. Every anon's never alone. From the crumbs to the dawn, we decoded the night.